Serious, people who've had sex with their so/ex/friend's parent, how the hell did you get to that point? What happened after?
My neighbor and childhood friend used to sleep at his house, parents knew each other, spent summers swimming in his pool and going camping. We grew apart when we went to different high schools. After graduation, he went into the Marines and I went to college. JR year, I came home to house sit while my parents were away on a cruise. Found out my friend's mom was getting divorced and selling their house. I volunteered to help her tear down an old gazebo in her yard and clean out all the junk from her garage and attic crawl space. Long days working side by side, flirting, just having fun. Afterward, we'd barbecue around her pool for dinner and swimming in her pool to cool off at the end of the day like I used to when I was a kid. She made it obvious she was interested. Drinking GNTS, a long hug turned into awkward dancing and then we were kissing and going back into the house. My friend never found out as far as I know and we weren't close by then so our relationship wasn't changed in any way.
Tearing the OL gazebo? Is that what the kids are calling it these days?
Imagine your friend watching this comment and figuring out it is you.
Imagine you remembered looking out the window and seeing your son and Mrs. Jenkins suspiciously swimming in her pool and drinking during her divorce.
He was house sitting, his parents were on vacay.
Imagine walking on street randomly and seeing that some creep is watching other people swim and drink.
Okay, I will.
Wasn't it weird since she knew you as a kid and watched you grow up? Ice.
Same question. I can't imagine sleeping with someone I watched grow up and was also best friends with my son.
You'll love it, Woody Allen.
Isn't weird for her that you were her lost son?
A friend of mine's mom basically hit on a number of us in the group and sadly it just became kind of a matter of time before one of us caved and it eventually happened. He saw it coming, I feel bad for him. Recently divorced mid-30s hot mom and a group of 18-year-olds. It wasn't me who did it.
I went to HS with a kid whose mom was like this. She'd let him throw big parties and she would get topless in the hot tub with teenagers. It was extremely awkward because most of us didn't want to go in the backyard when she was out there because we didn't feel comfortable. Several of his friends had sex with her and one of them ended up dating her for like 5 years and moving with her to LA. It was very bizarre.
That is creepy as all hell. I'm so sorry.
A similar thing happened in our group, although she was older than 30s. She ended up with 2 at the same time. Then individually at different times. That was a shame-filled few months for the whole tribe.
Damn, that's fucked up. Like, yeah, they're 18 but a 30-year-old gets divorced and the first thing she wants is to hit up barely adults? Damn.
Not excusing it by any means, but I noticed when a few of my friends got divorced or out of serious long-term relationships the first thing they all did was hit the reset button. It was like they all went back to the age and attitude of when they first got into these relationships, and almost all of them started super intense relationships with people way younger than them, again, similar to the age they had been when their major relationship had started. It was almost like their sexual selves had gone into a stasis of sorts when they got married, content with the one person, but no longer changing and maturing, and when that broke up it was like they picked up right where they left off. Various degrees of success. One fell deeply in love with the much younger partner, married, and by all accounts are doing very well. One ran that much younger partner into the ground and then jumped onto an even younger one again, and the cycle looks set to continue. And one spent a year or two reliving her lost 20s and then, almost overnight, hit her stride and smoothly transitioned into the 30-something she would have been if she'd never married a jackass in the first place, smiley face.
Yeah, I mean she was the cool mom so we all hung out at her house all the time. But it was definitely weird. It actually broke up her next marriage.
No, the newly divorced 30s mom hits up the 18-year-olds, because she knows the 18-year-olds will give her the validation offered by proving she can still incite desire and make men want to fuck her. It's going for the low-hanging fruit for easy validation.
It is pretty odd for sure. But think about it. She is mid-30s with an 18-yo, so say 37 cause any older and your late 30s. Means she was 18/19 when she got pregnant. Possibly younger. So that's the age group of the last time she was single. Might be some psychological thing there.
This reminds me of the mom of my cousin's wife. When her kids were younger, they used to bring home kids from school that had it really rough in their life. She would talk with them and help them, but one thing that was interesting she mentioned was that she was glad to have parents around who would initiate physical contact with them. She said she knew these youngsters needed physical contact since some of them had been feeling lonely or mistreated for a while, but she said she couldn't be the one giving it to them. Now reading these comments, I understand what she meant by that.
Removed.
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 I had sex with one of my best friend's mom. It was Thanksgiving and I was driving her back home, and she confessed that she didn't have sex in years since she was a widow. I told her that I didn't have sex in months since I was moving. We talked a bit more and we sort of flirted, and once we got to her house, she asked me to come inside, and we did the deed. Edit, I accidentally put dead instead of deed at the very end. That's my mistake. I did not fuck a dead body. I am not into that shit.
I do not fuck dead bodies, it is my least favorite thing to do.
Still a favorite, just the least of my favorites.
KAAARL.
Sorry, you did the what?
Well, she did say she was a widow.
Man, you are bringing up one of my worst accounts hot, and I'm being honest.
Not my proudest moment, but I don't regret it.
Did she live in a funeral home?
No. She lived in her own house. Her daughter still lived with her, but her daughter was still at the party for Thanksgiving. We had sex while her daughter was at the party.
She asked me to come inside. Damn, she was thirsty.
I had sex with a good friend's mom. Looking back, it's really messed up. She had been working on me for months. I was only 18. I'm ashamed of it. Fortunately, the friend never found out. But as an adult, I now look back at it and realize that I was in over my head and she should have known better.
What you're describing sounds like grooming.
Mate, hate to say it, but the vast majority of these are clear cases of grooming.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Older women in positions of trust and authority grooming young men, or using their own children as bait.
In over my head. That weird case where a euphemism and metaphor exist in the same phrase. Seriously though, hope you're okay.
Well, I was a horny guy, and my friend's mom was, well, available, really. I'm not proud of it, it just kind of happens sometimes, and every time I felt shame. I don't know, like I was betraying my friend's trust. Worst thing was, she was actually a friend of my mom too, so I kinda saw her on a regular basis.
Oh, so it was on the regular for you.
He felt shame every time though. All 157 times. He felt shame.
He almost stopped doing it. The shame was almost unbearable.
The kind of shame that lasts 4 hours.
If your shame lasts for more than 4 hours, seek medical attention.
A friend at school's mom was pretty hot. She was relatively young compared to most of our mums, and his dad was quite a bit older and absolutely minted. When we were young teenagers, it was a bit of a running joke to give him shit about his hot mom or how his dad was her sugar daddy. Fast forward to the end of 6th form, end of high school for US readers, when we were all 18 and he was having a party at his massive house to celebrate. Most people were outside getting drunk in the garden, but I'd had a bad few months, family stuff, so wasn't really feeling it. I decided to go and chill inside for a bit, and in the kitchen I found his mum just drinking wine and looking forlornly out the window. I asked if she was okay and she pretty much unloaded her issues. She was miserable, she hated his dad, she'd settled down without having a life first, felt trapped because she couldn't afford to leave, loved her kids, etc. I opened up about my issues too with my family, and it actually felt good to talk to a relative stranger about it. I now realize I should have been seeing a therapist. Anyway, one thing led to another and she started making out with me. I didn't stop her. She then led me upstairs and the rest is history. On the one hand, it was pretty awesome, she was smoking hot, I was pretty inexperienced, and she really knew how to communicate in the bedroom. On the other hand though, I knew I was betraying my friend, and fucking up his parents' marriage, plus I could hear all my friends laughing and partying outside. A few months later they got divorced and I understand she got a bit shafted in the deal because she'd cheated on him. I don't know if that was me or she did it with someone else too. I am pretty ashamed about it, but I also realize she was using me too. I was never under any illusion we had some special connection or anything, but I can see she just wanted to fuck someone out of catharsis or frustration and maybe, subconsciously, to force the problems in the marriage into the daylight so she could finally get out. TLDR, friend's mum was hot but miserable in her marriage. Fucked 18 Yomi at a party to feel younger and probably to sabotage her marriage.
Finch.
Oh no.
Oh no.
She got a bit shafted, pun intended?
This is, like, the exact storyline of that scene in American Pie.
I guess it's kinda similar, very different vibe though. She was on and off crying and I was pretty awkward. Also, that scene is all single malt, smart dress, bar in the billiard room smoothness. My situation was more hard wooden breakfast bar, scruffy looking dude, mum in jeans and a sweater drinking Pinot Grigio.
Removed.
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 Removed.